Hello TetraBit Nation and welcome back to another top 10 video here on TetraBitGaming. People often ask me, what is my favorite console? To which I say the Nintendo 64, of course, being. Released 20 years ago today, the Nintendo 64 marked Nintendo's third international home console. And although the system didn't sell amazingly well overall, it played a large role in mine and many other childhoods, and even to this day has me going back to it quite often. Heck, I even own two consoles, and really I wish I owned all of the different colors. And there are so many amazing and notable games on this system, and today I will be going over my top 10 Nintendo 64 games ever made. And with all the amazing games on the system, narrowing it down to just 10 games was really hard. And as such, this list only contains games that I own or have played, so just because a game isn't on this list doesn't mean it isn't great, but more than likely I just haven't played it. For example, spoiler alert, GoldenEye isn't on this list simply because I've never actually played it. And also, this list won't be counting down the best reviewed games or best selling games or whatever, but simply my favorite games on the console. And as always guys, please understand this is my personal list, so please don't get too upset if your favorite game isn't on this list. And oh yeah, only one game per series on this list. For example, although Mario Kart and Mario Party are both Mario games, they are a different series. And before we begin, if you guys enjoy all these top 10 videos, please be sure to let me know by leaving a big fat like or comment down below. And with all of that out of the way, here we go, my list of the top 10 Nintendo 64 games ever made. Kicking off this list at number 10 is a game I have a feeling many of you haven't played or even ever heard of. Iggys Wreckin' Balls is a quirky game developed by Iguana Entertainment for the console in 1998. It initially features a cast of 8 ball characters, each with unique personalities, as well as 9 more characters to unlock as you progress through the game. In single player, you take control of one of these characters and race across a variety of vertical tracks using the signature grappling hook as well as other items to climb and attack your rivals. The single player features around 100 courses I believe, so it will definitely be keeping you busy. But this game to me truly shined in its 4-player multiplayer arcade and battle mode, which is crazy hectic fun. If you're looking for a new, lesser known Nintendo 64 party game to try it with your friends, look no further than this game. At number 9 is another game that I used to play a ton when I was younger, Pokemon Stadium. As for many series on the N64, Pokemon Stadium was the first major Pokemon game to transition to the 3D world. Featuring the entire cast of Gen 1 Pokemon, this game was able to deliver a better and more interesting perspective to Pokemon battles with new Pokemon and move animations. I remember back when my brother and I would just hop into Stadium mode and battle with different Pokemon for hours. The game also has a small but awesome collection of minigames sure to get your heart pumping when playing with friends. Sushi Go Round is definitely my favorite. Baby doll! When the game was released, it was bundled with a Nintendo 64 transfer pack, which gave players the ability to transfer data between Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Red, Blue, or Yellow. It also gave the ability to play the handheld games on the big screen, which was awesome. Admittedly, the game hasn't aged all too well graphically, but I still think it's worth to come back to once in a while, even if it's just to listen to the battle announcer.
Trainer hasn't issued an order.
And coming in at number 8, I have Mario's second real RPG game, Paper Mario. Initially called Super Mario RPG 2, this game is my favorite RPG on the Nintendo 64, and probably the only one I have played for that matter. Featuring elements from the Super Mario series as well as traditional role-playing games, Paper Mario is amazing. Paper Mario features a slightly altered Peach is kidnapped by Bowser, go save her storyline, a large cast of memorable characters and partners, fun combat gameplay, a basic leveling system, and a plethora of items to collect. Using paper-styled graphics, the game even managed to age not too horribly and looks not bad on the eyes to this day. In the off chance that you haven't yet played a Paper Mario game or have only played Sticker Star, I definitely recommend you check out this game and then compare it to Paper Mario Color Splash when it comes out. Number 7 on this list is my introduction to the Mario Kart series, Mario Kart 64. Although in my opinion the many sequels to this game are big improvements, Mario Kart 64 still holds a special place with me. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, this was the 4-player competitive party game. If you aren't familiar with Mario Kart for some reason, it features the Mushroom Kingdom's All-Stars racing around various themed tracks and go-karts while using various items to either aid themselves or hinder opponents. The tracks in this game are so memorable and the music was awesome. My absolute favorite mode in this game, however, was Battle Mode, which pits players against each other in a fight to the last kart standing. I can't count or shouldn't count the number of hours I spent on battle maps like Block Fort and Skyscraper, and to me this game is timeless, and I think people will always find a reason to come back to this game for a long time. Controversially, I'm sure, at number 6 I am putting the Nintendo 64 launch title Super Mario 64. Now hold on, before you go dislike this video and comment that this list sucks, hear me out. I used to really like this game, and I definitely regard it as one of the most influential games of all time. But going back to it now, it's just really hard for me. Every time I try to sit down and play this game again, I realize I really don't like most of the levels and the controls and the camera angle, and everything just seriously makes me want to drink bleach. But I digress. Overall, the game is great. As per usual, Peach has been kidnapped, and it is up to Mario to wander in and around the princess's castle, as well as jump into various paintings to find the power stars necessary to save her. With a whopping total of 15 differently themed stages, a plethora of coins and items to collect, new enemies and bosses, and even a mystery or two, there's a reason this game sold as well as it did. The game was even eventually ported to the Nintendo DS with new playable characters and areas. Even though I have some gripes with this game, all in all, I don't think Mario's first jump into the 3D realm could have been executed any better than it was. Although Mario Party 2 is my favorite Mario Party both on the N64 and overall in the series, I unfortunately don't have it, and as such, at number 5 at a close second, it is Mario Party 3. Improving on many of the issues from its predecessors, this final Mario Party installment on the N64 was awesome. It had 71 mostly amazing minigames, it featured Waluigi and Daisy as new playable characters, and had several memorable boards to play on. As in the title of the game, and much like Mario Kart, Mario Party games to this day are some of the best party games out there. Mario Party 3 also introduced a 2-player duel mode in which opposing players would partner up with a different character and fight to the death. It was definitely different, but still a lot of fun. If you haven't played any of the old Mario Party games and have only been lucky to play the last 2, I absolutely recommend that you give the N64 ones a whirl. There's a chance you might cause some tension in your friendships, but hey, it's well worth it. And what do you know, another great party game at number 4, Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64. This game was revolutionary for its time as a fighting game featuring Nintendo's most iconic characters as fighters with something fans only dreamt of. Not only was it revolutionary, but it was also a good fighting game, which as you might know, has spawned many sequels. Featuring the likes of Mario, Luigi, Link, Donkey Kong, Fox, Yoshi, Captain Falcon, Ness, Pikachu, and Jigglypuff, this game was packed to the brim with neat levels and various items. I remember the first time I played this game and picked up a lightsaber as Pikachu, and I thought it was unbelievable. Even though this game isn't as technical or polished like the newer Smash Bros. Games and doesn't have an amazing single-player experience, it is definitely a staple of any Nintendo 64 fan. And riding up at the number 3 spot, I have none other than Banjo Tooie. Now it was really hard for me to decide between Banjo Kazooie and Tooie, and I often flip-flop between liking one more than the other, but overall I have to give a slight edge to the sequel. And like all the games on this list, the Banjo series was a big part of my childhood. The game features Banjo the Bear and Kazooie the Breagle, along with other characters such as Mumbo, going on an adventure to collect puzzle pieces called Jiggies to again stop Gruntilda the Witch. This game packs amazing levels, memorable moments, and unforgettable music courtesy of Grant Kirkhope. And although there are many similarities between Banjo Kazooie and Tooie, in the end, my edge to Tooie boils down to 2 main reasons. Firstly, in my opinion, the levels in Tooie are much more refined in terms of gameplay and feel bigger and better overall. My favorite example of this is the level Witchy World, which to me exemplifies everything a platforming level should have, and it has a great atmosphere to boot. The second advantage the sequel has over the prequel is the fun multiplayer games available in Tooie, which also exemplify Nintendo 64 multiplayer fun. If you love 3D platforming games, then you need to play this game. Deciding between the number 1 and 2 spot was difficult for me as both of these games are some of my favorite of all time, but I had to put Donkey Kong 64 at the number 2 spot because it has more than its fair share of problems. And I know many people complain that this game goes way overboard with things to collect, but in my opinion, that's the beauty of it. This game is like the poster boy for collectathons. Taking place on DK Isle after King K. Rool threatens to destroy it, the game features DK and several of his friends and relatives going through various areas to collect crystal coconuts, film, other fruits, golden bananas, banana coins, banana medals, and bananas. And much like the Banjo games, this game has amazing locales, characters, and music, again by Grant Kirkhope. With crazy bosses, minecart segments, Chunky's Triangle, and much more, this game had me hooked from the beginning to the end. It has always been a toss-up between Banjo and DK, but for some reason, be it nostalgia or something else, I tend to lean more towards Donkey Kong. Even though this game is filled with glitches and you have to swap characters way too much and banana barrel minigames suck, this game shines in my books, and if you haven't already tried it, I really hope that you do. And before I get to my number one pick, here are a few honorable mentions that didn't quite make it to this list. But unlike the rest of this list, the one game per series rule does not apply here. I know, this is super cliche and there are many people out there that find this game overrated, but there hasn't been another Nintendo 64 game, or game in general, that has had so much of an impact on me as Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I mean, sure, the game definitely plays and looks outdated by today's standards, but I mean, it has been like 18 years since it came out, and the fact that so many people to this date hold it as being one of the best games of all time is pretty telling. And unfortunately, I didn't get around to playing this game until the Wii era, as I was way too young to enjoy it when it first came out. But since my first time playing it, I was hooked, and have since beaten the game countless times and bought more copies of it than I should. I mean, I think I own like 8 copies of the game spanning various different consoles. In this game, you travel through time, fighting countless enemies, solving various puzzles, conversing with numerous characters, all while trying to save the world. Now, I could go on about this game for a very long time, so in short, Ocarina of Time is in my opinion a timeless masterpiece, and although it isn't perfect, I think this game is a textbook example of video games being a form of art instead of simply just a mindless waste of time. And that is all for this top 10 list, you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. I had a ton of fun going back to play some of these games for this video, and it really took me back on a nostalgic trip. Do you agree with my list? Let me know what your favorite N64 games are down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this list, guys, please don't forget to leave a like and check out the rest of my channel for more videos like it. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching today and for all your support, and I will see you in a bit.